for joining me for another story time. Today is a special day because today is Earth Day. And Earth Day is a day where we really think about things that we are doing for the earth that are harmful, but also things we could do to the earth that we can do that are helpful to the earth. So today in Google Classroom, you are going to be doing some activities about thinking about things we can do to help the earth, right? We only get one planet Earth. We can't ruin Earth and then get another one. We can't order another one from Target or Amazon, right? We only get one Earth. So we have to take care of the earth and the planet that we live on. So that is what Earth Day is about remembering and reminding us all the things that we can do for the earth. So our book today has to do with Earth Day. It's called The Berenstain Bears Don't Pollute Anymore. So they might have done some things that are polluting the earth, that are not good for the earth. So let's see what the Berenstain Bears learned about not polluting. Berenstain Bears don't pollute anymore. Well, looky here, said Papa as he opened the evening news. Your friend, Professor Actual Factual's got his picture in the paper. Oh, said Brother and Sister Bear, coming to see. There's a big story, too, said Papa, in a headline. My goodness, said Mama Bear. What's it about? Leading scientist claims bear country is in serious trouble, he said, reading the headline. What sort of trouble? Asked Sister. Papa, who was reading the story to himself, didn't answer. What sort of trouble? Said Mama, repeating Sister's question. Oh, you know how professors are, he said. Actual Factual's making a big fuss about pollution. Well, I know how Professor Actual Factual is, said Mama, and I think he's quite sensible. So do I, said Sister. Me too, agreed Brother. Oh, he's a great guy, all right, said Papa. He's dug up some terrific dinosaur bones, and he runs a great museum. But I happen to think he's gone a little overboard on this pollution thing. I'm as much against pollution as the next fellow, he continued. I just don't think a couple of candy wrappers and drinking cups along the side of the road is the end of the world. Besides, bear country is in great shape. Come on, I'll show you. He opened the door and he led the family out onto the front stoop. You see, bear country is not only in good shape, it's downright beautiful. The rolling hills, the forests, the lakes, and the streams. And just look at that sunset. It's beautiful, all right, agreed Brother. But our science book says that some of those colors are caused by chemicals in the air that shouldn't be there. Oh, piffle, said Papa. Say, aren't you supposed to be doing your homework? Sister, who had just about completed her homework, finished quickly. But Brother Bear was stuck. Teacher Bob had asked him to do a report on endangered species. The books he had taken out of the school library weren't very helpful. Of course, the kind of shape bear country was in wasn't as simple as Papa Bear made it seem. How bear country looked depended on your point of view. It looked fine from the bear family's front stoop. It looked even better if you had a bird's-eye view while flying high above the air. But if you had a squirrel's eye view and were finding fewer and fewer acorns because too many trees were being cut down, bear country didn't look so fine. If you had a duck's eye view, you might think the professor was right about pollution. And if you had a fish's eyes view, you might think things were downright awful. The next day, Brother Bear decided to visit the museum to ask Professor Actual Factual to help him with his endangered species report. Sister Bear went with him. Professor Actual Factual was usually cheerful and friendly and bubbling over with ideas and projects when the cubs visited. But this time he looked worried and glum. He cheered up a bit when he saw them, but when Brother told him the purpose of the visit, to get help on a report about endangered species, he said something very surprising. "I'll tell you the endangered species you ought to do your report on." "Us," he said. Do my friends know what an endangered species is? If you know, tell me. An endangered species is a species that we don't have a lot of anymore on Earth. "We don't understand," they said. "It's very simple," explained the professor. "We bears and all other creatures need certain things to survive. We need clean air to breathe, pure water to drink, and good soil to grow food in. If we don't do something about pollution, we are all gonna be endangered species." "Come," he said, "you'll understand soon enough." He led them out to where the actual factual mobile was parked. It was a special van with all sorts of scientific gear in it. Then the professor took brother and sister on a bear country tour they wouldn't soon forget. They went past Grizzly Gus's garage where they saw oil leaking into a stream, getting on a duck, and killing some fish. Then they went past the old box factory where they saw ugly black smoke pouring from the factory into the air. They went scuba diving into Great Bear Lake where they saw everything from soda cans to rusty old bed springs and worse. They saw a fish tangled in a plastic soda can holder. They cut it loose, but they couldn't rescue all the fish from the plastic holders carelessly thrown away. They drove through the forest and saw that a great many trees had been cut down and that not many trees had been planted to replace them. "You might speak to your dad about that," said the professor. "He and his fellow woods bears could help with that problem." "I think I see what you mean about becoming endangered species," said brother when they got back to the museum. "Yes," agreed sister, "but what are we going to do about it?" "Did that evening news story do much good?" asked brother. "Not much," said the professor. "The idea that bear country is in serious trouble because of pollution seems to be hard to get across." "To grown-ups maybe," said sister, "but we understand, and all of our cub friends will too, because we're the ones who will have to live on a messed up, polluted earth when we grow up." "Professor," said brother, "how does this sound? You come to our school and explain all about pollution to the cubs of bear country. Maybe we can do something about it." Actual Factual was impressed. "I'll give Teacher Bob a call right away and arrange it," he said. And that's what happened. The cubs were all eyes and ears as Actual Factual told them about the trouble bear country was getting into. First, he taught them 3 important new words: ecology, conservation, and recycle. The way the professor explained it, ecology means how all the creatures, the plants, and the earth itself work together. Conservation means not wasting the valuable things of the earth, like water, oil, wood, and metal. And recycle means finding ways to use some of those valuable things over and over again. The cubs learned quite a bit from Actual Factual, and they had some ideas of their own too. "How about a recycling program?" suggested one cub. "Maybe for newspapers to start," added another. "Then if it works, for cans and bottles too." Tim Honeypot said he'd talk to his dad, Mayor Honeypot, about it. Brother Bear remembered Grizzly Gus's garage. "You shouldn't be allowed to spill oil into streams and kill fish," he said. Babs Bruno, whose dad was the chief of police, said, "I'll talk to my dad. If there isn't a law against it, there ought to be." Even Too Tall helped with an idea. "My uncle owns the Super Duper Market. He could put in a bag return plan for reusing your bags." Excellent suggestion, said the professor. And if some folks don't want to cooperate, added Too Tall, me and the gang can lean on 'em a little bit. The bag return is fine, Too Tall, said Teacher Bob, but no leaning. Cousin Freddie had the best idea of all. Let's start a club to stop pollution and call it the Earth Savers Club. We'll make posters and bumper stickers and have cleanups and marches and parades. But there will still be the problem of Papa and his fellow woods bears. That evening, brother and sister told Mama and Papa about the Earth Savers Club and the plans for stopping pollution. Mama was very impressed. Papa was too. As I said before, I'm just as much against pollution as the next fellow. But when the cubs asked him to be sure that he and his fellow woods bears plant a new tree every time they cut one down, he got a little grumpy. Humph, he grumped. It's hard enough to cut down trees without having to plant them as well. Besides, what's all the fuss about? They're just trees. My dear, said Mama, the cubs are right. The forest is a living thing and it deserves respect. Papa was about to say piffle, but he thought better of it. The problem of conserving the forest must have been on his mind because that night he had a dream. In the dream, he was walking toward the forest to cut wood when the trees began to sway and wave their branches. Then the branches turned into reaching, grasping arms. Then the trees climbed out of the earth onto their roots and they chased him. Help! Cried Papa in his sleep. The trees! They're after me! He woke up in a cold sweat. Having a nightmare? Asked Mama. It must have been something I ate, he said. Or something you heard, perhaps, she said. About the trees? Piffle, he said, and he turned over to try to go back to sleep. But it wasn't going to be easy. The cubs didn't expect to solve all the Bear Country pollution's problems, but the Earth Savers Club had made a very good start. The mayor declared a special holiday called Earth Savers Day, and the cubs had a big parade. Brother and Sister Bear marched at the head with the professor, actual factual. There were many grown-ups in the parade too, including Papa Bear, who carried a sign that did not say piffle. His sign said, a good woods bear plants a tree for every single one he cuts. No ifs, no ands, no maybes or buts about it. All right. Happy Wednesday. Happy Earth Day, friends.